and we bring in the coach, Thomas Rongen. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us on hour number 2 here in the morning show.
You're welcome, John. Is Greg still there? Greg played for me.
Oh, he did. I did not know this.
We're going way back. Under 20 men's national team, Greg Garza was my starting left fullback for a 2-year cycle. With the under 20 World Cups, obviously our 2-year cycle. So great human, great player.
Nice. The symmetry that we have for the show sometimes, it just kind of lets its way out. Coach, it's been a while that we've been trying to work this out. And, when your employer taps you on the shoulder and says, dude, we need you to do some live, then obviously that's going to happen. But glad we could get you because you got yourself a movie, man. Well done.
I mean, it's one of those badass moments, where you get an answer to a question, who should play me in a movie? Well, it's an Oscar and Golden Globe nominee, Magneto, Inglourious Basterds, Steve Jobs, it's Michael Fassbender. So how's your day going? It's pretty good. And by the way, I'm calling Inter Miami in Messi's game, so life is good, John.
Yep, you got the matchup d'or later today. So no,
yeah.
you're good. You're good.
I'm calling the game on radio, so that's why I'm ready already. It's game day, baby. Let's go.
Game day. So, all right, I know that a lot of folks, may go back to the documentary back in 2014 and sit there and go, okay, now I know the genesis of all of this stuff, but what is it like to finally see something that focused on a project that was a fantastic story, by the way, to finally condense that into like an hour and a half after, 5 years and then develop and all this kind of stuff? What's the road been like for you to finally see it go from a doc to movie form?
Yeah, pretty amazing. As you said, it's based on the original documentary made in 2014, based on World Cup qualifying in 2011, and then fast forward to now. It's become a heartbreaking comedy drama, about the world's worst soccer team.
Yeah.
And I think that Taika Waititi, if you now go to the end product, shares his audacious take on the world's biggest sport. It's like, he said to me, it's Ted Lasso, running into cool runnings via the Mighty Ducks, and I had to twist the truth a little bit, he said, otherwise I'll tell people to watch the documentary. And he's going back, he said that to me when he first called me and told me that Michael Fassbender was going to play me. He says, I want to go back to my Polynesian roots. His last movie was a big movie, Thor, for Disney and Searchlight. And the beautiful thing about it is the film really rests on the shoulders of the cast, and most of them have Samoan ancestry, which Taika has as well. He's from an indigenous tribe in New Zealand. And that's just, that's beautiful, actually. He tries to, really explore sports and the nature of achievement. And also you learn more about, and that's what he really wanted, the community and the culture of the Samoans. So, I think it's uplifting. I think people enjoy it. I urge people to go, because it's the ultimate underdog story, really. The worst team in the world, trying to qualify for a World Cup.
So then let me ask it this way. From your time that you spent there in American Samoa to now, how much of them is in you now, and how much of you did you leave behind with football in American Samoa?
Oh, God. John, it was an incredible journey, both professionally and maybe even more so personally, quite frankly. And if I look at, I played against Pele here in the NESL. I've been to Atlanta to play the Chiefs in the late 70s, early 80s. I was part of the 94 World Cup. I was coach in the 1996 first year of MLS and coached 4 MLS teams. I've won a ring with DC United. I've done quite well with the Olympic team and the senior team when I was assistant coach. But this dwarfs anything. If people ask me what was your most rewarding experience, it's not my ring with DC United, but it is clearly American Samoa, where I deal with taboo issues in the world, not necessarily for Dutchies and Polynesians, which is playing a transgender, dealing with religion. I'm an atheist, but I end up in an island that's highly religious. It deals with death. I lost my daughter. And finally, I was able to mourn and cry as well. So it was just this interesting, intertwined story for Thomas Rongen, both on the field and off the field. And the people there are wonderful. Although it's a beautiful island, it also has high unemployment rate, high obesity, high alcohol and drug use. The only way to get, they call it off the rock, is to either enlist in the military or be a great student or athlete to get a scholarship in the United States. So Thomas Rongen became a better person, a more spiritual person, to say the least.
Next Goal Wins coming out next week. Searchlight Pictures first flashed at the Toronto International Film Festival this past year. And Michael Fassbender playing the role of Thomas Rongen in the movie. And Coach is hanging out with us here this morning here on SDH. You mentioned coaching, and there are different personalities when it comes to coaching. This situation in American Samoa, you would have had to have been a builder. Did you always see yourself as a builder, or were you thrown into this construction project and going, man, I've got to figure out how to use the hammer and the nail and the workbench and all this kind of stuff? What kind of a personality were you going in?
Well, I mean, funny story. I got a call from Sunil Gulati in 2010, late 2010. He was the president of U.S. Soccer. I was currently the coach of the under 20 team. So let me just explain to you how this happened. And he says, we have a territory called American Samoa. They need some help. Are you able to do that? Because you have a little bit of downtime before we start qualifying for the next cycle for the under-20s. And I said, sure. And I said to somebody in the room, where's American Samoa? And the person responded by, it's next to Fiji. So I went, yeah, I'm in. Put the phone down, Googled, and here we go. Lost 31-0 against Australia, worst ever defeat. Had not won a game in 20 years. Outscored 229 to 0, had not scored a goal. So I knew I was up against it, no doubt about it. Technically, I made him a little bit better. I tweaked some things tactically, but where I made great stride was from a fitness standpoint and from more so a mental standpoint. So we did a lot of on and off the field team building. And on the day of our game against Tonga, first qualifying game, and I do my spiel of, starting 11, rah, rah, rah. And I said to my wife, actually, I think they believe they can win. So that was really a change of a mindset, turning losers basically into winners. And a lot of things along the line helped me with that. I brought back the goalkeeper that gave up 31 goals, John, who had retired. Yeah. He told me the first time on the phone, my son thinks I'm a loser. People recognize me in the streets. I said, come back. I said, no, I don't want to. Eventually he comes back. He's in goal. He comes up to me after the game, which we beat Tonga 2-1, and he cries. He says, my son thinks I'm a hero. The Fafafina, third gender story of Salua is obviously brilliant. And one other great story is I brought a guy that was the best athlete on the island. I saw him play 3 days into my trip to American Samoa in an American football high school game. And I go, I want that guy. And the person goes, he's never played soccer. So I was convincing this guy to come. He scores the winner at 17 against Tonga. Fast forward 10 years later, and this is lost a little bit in the movie because he was such an introvert, both in the documentary. And he calls me as coach, I'm in Miami. I'm the starting safety for the Oakland Raiders. We're playing the Dolphins today. So insane. So there's so many beautiful stories of individuals intertwined in this movie that Watiti obviously plays a role in and says, I want to make sure that people remember my Polynesian people that live sometimes on the margins, with twisting the story and turning, unfortunately, Thomas Rongen into a villain in the first hour of the movie, and then I become the hero at the end. Great journey, John. Brilliant.
Next Goal Wins coming out next Friday. But I mean, part of it, I would imagine, as you're telling a story, is the idea of redemption. When it comes to, you start off someone as a villain, and then they are redeemed by the environment that's around them. You mentioned how your experience there in American Samoa rubbed off on you and has carried with you ever since. I mean, in real world, I would think that this is obviously probably one of the best coaching jobs ever done on this planet under any circumstance. Where would you rank you if you were looking outside the window and sit there and look at what you were able to do there in American Samoa?
Well, yeah, probably number one. If you look at the FIFA rankings when they're last, and we jump actually like 32 places, and they dropped a little bit. But if you talk about legacy, I didn't go in there. More young kids are playing the game. As you know, John, rugby and American football on those islands are king. But they've made some inroads. All of a sudden, we never had referees. We now train referees. We have more fields. We have more kids that play right now that show interest and want to be the next Nikki Salupa, the next Jaya. That's obviously great. But yeah, at the end of the day, I can't think of anything else. And as I said again, John, I lost my daughter in a car accident. And talk about attention to detail, although he changed a lot of things, Watiti. This hat Michael Fassbender wore in the movie, which I did against Tonga, as I said again, as a tribute to the loss of my daughter, and the mere fact, as I said again, that I was able finally to let go on this beautiful island due to the way they embraced me and I embraced them. So they probably saved my life, John. I'll be real honest with you.
I was going to ask, have you been back recently? Do you keep in touch with folks from that run back in the early 2010s? What's your level of contact like?
Yeah, that's interesting. I coached 4 MLS teams. I went to 3 under-20 World Cups. I went to the Olympics. So I coached a lot of teams. And I stay in touch with some players of certain teams. But I stay in touch with more players of American Samoa. I think it's also a telling story that they hit me with something. So I do talk to the federation. I do talk to quite a few players. I am actually, you're the first one that knows, although I haven't said yes, they want me back for the next qualifying phase to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. I haven't said yes yet.
Okay.
I got a lot of other things on my plate, CBS, BN, Inter Miami games.
Busiest man in show business, I know, yeah.
So I'm trying to go back, John, to look at the poster behind me, which was the original documentary.
There it is.
So, and that's the goalkeeper, and then obviously you get Jaya as well. I wouldn't mind going back if it makes sense.
And I can sense the meaning of being asked in your voice.
Thank you.
That's I mean, to have that kind of circle, and sometimes the story is a circle where you have the ending and then you go back and you work your way through. How much of this has been a circle for you? But because it seems like the circle's not necessarily complete, you're getting close when it comes to the story with Americans.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's close to completion, but not quite a full circle.
No, that's a one chapter, obviously. If you talk about completion, John, I'm in a situation right now where I came to the NASL in the late 70s.
Yeah. I
was able to play against Pele. I was able to play with my childhood hero. I'm from Amsterdam, Ajax. Johan Cruyff, who, by the way, had won 3 Ballon d'Ors. Mm-hmm. Pele put soccer on the map. 94 World Cup, which I was part of. Start of MLS, coached 4 teams. David Beckham and the designated player effect. And now Messi. So that circle at 67, going from playing against Pele and with Cruyff, now calling Inter Miami Messi games, that circle has become, obviously pretty much to conclusion at my age. And then Michael Fassbender is playing me. So again, how's your day going? But the American Samoa story might not have ended yet. You're right. I got to see how it fits into my schedule as well. I would definitely. I didn't say no. I said I would love to do it, but let's talk.
All right. So my last question for you. Actually, I have two. Sorry, I fibbed. Where are you going to be next Friday when the movie's out for release nationally?
I'll be, which is really nice. I am also a liaison sports innovation and vitality for the Dutch embassy. So I try to introduce Dutch companies to America. We have 15 companies coming in next week for Soccer X, the biggest exhibition of soccer in the world. We have the Royal Dutch Football Federation, Johan Neeskens, as our legend coming in as well. And I just found out that Soccer X is doing a little bit of a screening that day while we're all in Miami, which is pretty cool, actually.
And then my last question for you is, how good are you at Golden Tee?
How good am I with what?
At Golden Tee.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty darn good with Golden Tee. Even better with. Even better with Pac-Man.
Oh, that's strong.
And occasionally I'll hit a few bullets as well.
Couple of triple 20s. Nothing wrong with that.
There you
go. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us. I know that you have a busy Noche because Noche d'Or coming up tonight, obviously, with Miami and NYC there at DRVP and K. Thanks.
I have occasionally listened to you, but now I'm going to go forward because what you've done every day and the variety from NWSL to this Greg Garza, et cetera. Well done, John. Keep going.
Okay, well, then what I will do is I will make an executive edict. You now officially, sir, have golden ticket status, so you can crash the party anytime you want and sit there and enter the conversation and discuss about anything you want to come in on. Seriously, you want to crash, you don't have to tell Chip Namias that you're coming into the show. It's like literally anytime that you're not doing something on CBS, anytime you're not doing something on BN, anytime you're not talking about Noche d'Or and Messi and NYC at DRVP and K, you have golden ticket status, sir. You may crash at any time to discuss the sport that we do. Welcome to Soccer's Morning Show. Golden ticket status holder.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Let me know who your guests are, because I've touched so many players, due to the fact that I went to 320 World Cups.
There you go.
Including Greg Garza. It would be fun to jump in with a former player that I haven't spoken to for 20 years. So, yes, I will be.
All right, so next time Garza comes on, traditionally he and Michael Parkhurst have a segment 9:30 on Friday mornings, and they alternate out.
Cool.
So they talk about their mentoring, Beyond Goals mentoring them. They talk about mentoring and what it means.
Correct.
Talk about generations and things like that. So,
Make a note. Next time Greg comes on, I got a funny story that I can tell about Garza.
Oh, wow. Okay. So golden ticket status holder Thomas Rongen. Next Goal Wins coming out next week. Next Friday, Searchlight Pictures. Thanks for crashing the party, my friend, on a Friday. We'll catch you up soon.
Thanks for having me.